50 insane facts about Florida. Did you know Florida has more lightning strikes than any other state? A town built entirely by Disney, and beaches where the sand literally squeaks when you walk on it. Or that it's home to a coral reef you can visit by car, more golf courses than any place on Earth, and a spring where mermaids perform underwater shows. How about the fact that Florida has more than 30,000 lakes and a highway that crosses 42 bridges over open ocean? Well, buckle up. Florida is bursting with bizarre, beautiful, and absolutely wild facts. And we've got 50 of them for you. So let's get right into it. Fact 50. The lightning capital of America. Florida gets struck by lightning more than anywhere else in the United States, averaging 1.4 million lightning strikes annually. The Tampa Bay area holds the dubious distinction of being America's lightning capital, with summer afternoons bringing spectacular electrical storms almost daily. The state's unique geography, surrounded by warm water, humid tropical air, and intense heat, creates perfect conditions for violent thunderstorms. Afternoon storms develop with such regularity that Floridians plan their days around the 3 p.m. thunderstorm forecast. Lightning kills more people in Florida than hurricanes, tornadoes, and alligators combined. Fact 49. The town that Disney built. Celebration Florida isn't just Disney-themed. It was literally created by the Walt Disney Company in the 1990s as an experiment in planned community living. The town features pastel houses with white picket fences, a downtown straight out of a Norman Rockwell painting, and strict architectural guidelines ensuring everything looks perpetually perfect. It's real-life Pleasantville, where Halloween decorations require homeowner association approval. The town was meant to embody Walt Disney's original vision for Epcot before it became a theme park. Residents live in what amounts to a permanent movie set designed to evoke small-town nostalgia. Fact 48. Beaches with squeaking sand. Siesta Key Beach boasts sand so pure and fine, 99% quartz crystal, that it literally squeaks when you walk on it. The sand stays cool even under intense Florida sun because quartz doesn't absorb heat like other minerals. It feels like walking on powdered sugar. The beach consistently ranks among the world's best, with sand so white it looks photoshopped. The quartz crystals were formed by ancient Appalachian mountains that eroded over millions of years, eventually washing down rivers and depositing along Florida's Gulf Coast. Fact 47. The only living coral reef in North America. The Florida Reef stretches 360 miles from Miami to the Dry Tortugas, making it the third largest barrier reef system on Earth and the only living coral reef in the continental United States. You can literally drive to it via the Overseas Highway and snorkel among tropical fish, sea turtles, and brain coral formations. John Pennekamp Coral Reef State Park in Key Largo offers glass-bottom boat tours for those who'd rather stay dry. The reef supports over 1,400 species of marine plants and animals, including endangered species like elkhorn and staghorn coral. Fact 46. More golf courses than anywhere on Earth. Florida hosts over 1,400 golf courses, more than any other state and more per capita than almost anywhere globally. In some counties, you're never more than 10 minutes from a golf course. The subtropical climate allows year-round play, making Florida a golfer's paradise and retiree's dream. Entire communities are built around golf, with homes lining fairways and morning tee times dictating social calendars. The golf industry generates billions for Florida's economy, employing tens of thousands. Some Floridians joke that the state's official sport isn't football or baseball, it's golf. Fact 45. The Everglades, river of grass. The Everglades isn't a swamp. It's a slow-moving river, 60 miles wide and only inches deep, flowing from Lake Okeechobee to Florida Bay. Called River of Grass by Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, whose 1947 book sparked conservation efforts, the Everglades is one of Earth's most unique ecosystems. Sawgrass marshes stretch to horizons, broken by hardwood hammocks where orchids bloom and panthers prowl. The ecosystem supports an absurd diversity of life. Alligators, crocodiles, the only place on Earth where both coexist, manatees, roseate spoonbills, and the endangered Florida panther. Fact 44. Hurricane Alley Headquarters. Florida has been hit by more hurricanes than any other state, with 120-plus storms making landfall since record-keeping began. The state's peninsula geography makes it a target for Atlantic and Gulf storms. Hurricane season runs June through November, with September being peak danger. Floridians develop hurricane fatigue, where Category 2 storms barely warrant preparation beyond buying beer and filling the bathtub. but major hurricanes like Andrew, 1992, Michael, 2018, and Ian, 2022, remind residents that nature's fury deserves respect. Fact 43. The Mermaid Theater at Weeki Wachee. Since 1947, Weeki Wachee Springs has featured underwater mermaid shows where performers breathe from air hoses while performing synchronized swimming routines, eating bananas underwater, and drinking soda from bottles. It's gloriously retro Americana, a tourist trap that somehow became a beloved Florida institution. The natural spring produces 117 million gallons daily of crystal-clear 74-degree water. The theater is actually submerged, with windows looking into the spring where mermaids perform for audiences. Today it operates as a state park, preserving a slice of vintage Florida tourism. Fact 42. Wild parrots everywhere. Florida hosts thriving populations of wild parrots, not native species, but escaped or released pets that established breeding colonies. Monk parakeets build massive communal nests on power poles. Nande parakeets flock through urban neighborhoods. Bright green parrots screeching through palm trees create scenes that feel more like South America than North America. Miami hosts at least 20 established parrot species, more than anywhere in the United States. Some populations have existed for decades, adapting to Florida's climate and food sources. Fact 41. The retirement home of America. Florida's population includes over 4.5 million residents aged 65 plus, making it America's grayest state. Entire cities like the Villages are retirement communities where golf carts outnumber cars and pickleball is a competitive sport. The Villages alone houses over 130,000 residents in a sprawling development with its own town centers, healthcare systems, and entertainment venues. Early bird dinner specials aren't jokes, they're legitimate cultural institutions. The combination of no state income tax, warm weather, beaches, and golf courses makes Florida irresistible to retirees.
Fact 40. The Overseas Highway's 113-mile marvel. U.S. Route 1 from Miami to Key West crosses 42 bridges over open ocean, including the 7-mile bridge, creating one of the world's most spectacular drives. You're literally driving over the ocean with nothing but turquoise water on all sides. The highway follows Henry Flagler's historic railroad route, destroyed by the 1935 Labor Day hurricane. Some original railroad bridges were converted for car use before modern replacements were built. The old 7-mile bridge now serves as a fishing pier and filming location. Fact 39. Gatorland, where kitsch meets conservation. Founded in 1949, Gatorland near Orlando is a gloriously weird tourist attraction where thousands of alligators and crocodiles live in a facility that's part zoo, part theme park, part roadside oddity. The entrance is a giant alligator mouth. Shows include gator wrestling, feeding frenzies, and educational programs. But here's the twist. Gatorland actually does serious conservation work, including breeding endangered Cuban crocodiles and hosting research programs. It's authentically tacky while being legitimately valuable. Very Florida. Fact 38. The world's first commercial airline. St. Petersburg launched the world's first scheduled commercial airline flight in 1914 when Tony Jannus flew a Benoist flying boat across Tampa Bay, carrying a single passenger. The 23-minute flight cost $5, equivalent to about $150 today, and revolutionized transportation. The airline operated for 4 months, proving commercial aviation was viable. Florida's aviation history runs deep, with the state becoming an aerospace hub thanks to Cape Canaveral. Fact 37. Springs that pump millions of gallons daily. Florida has over 700 freshwater springs, more than anywhere on Earth, pumping billions of gallons of crystal-clear water from underground aquifers. Springs like Ichetucknee, Rainbow, and Ginny attract swimmers, divers, and snorkelers to waters so clear you can see 100 feet underwater. The springs maintain 72-degree temperatures year-round, making them perfect swimming holes even in winter. Rainbow Springs produces 400 to 600 million gallons daily, enough to fill an Olympic pool every few minutes. Fact 36. Disney World's absurd scale. Walt Disney World isn't just a theme park, it's a 43-square-mile empire roughly the size of San Francisco. The property contains 4 theme parks, 2 water parks, dozens of resort hotels, a sports complex, golf courses, shopping districts, and its own transportation network, including monorails, buses, boats, and the Skyliner gondola system. Disney World has its own fire department, power generation, and essentially operates as an independent municipality. Disney employs over 75,000 cast members, making it one of the world's largest single-site employers.
Fact 35. Sharks in the swimming holes.
Bull sharks regularly swim up Florida rivers into freshwater environments, occasionally appearing in places they absolutely shouldn't be, like golf course ponds, retention lakes, and rivers far inland. They're one of the few shark species that can tolerate fresh water, making Florida's waterways more interesting than advertised. Bull sharks have been found in the St. Johns River near Jacksonville, dozens of miles from the ocean. They're responsible for more attacks on humans than most shark species because they frequent shallow waters. Florida leads the nation in shark attacks, though fatalities are rare. Fact 34. The largest subtropical wilderness in the U.S., Big Cypress National Preserve, adjacent to Everglades National Park, protects 729,000 acres of cypress swamps, hardwood hammocks, pinelands, and prairies. It's home to the endangered Florida panther, black bears, and countless bird species. The preserve's name is misleading. It refers to the vast area covered by cypress swamps, not the size of individual trees. Visitors can explore via designated off-road vehicle trails, canoe routes, and hiking paths. Alligators bask on muddy banks. Orchids bloom in tree branches. Fact 33. Miami's Little Havana isn't little. Cuban immigrants and their descendants created Little Havana in Miami, a vibrant neighborhood where Spanish dominates. Domino games fill sidewalk parks, and Cuban culture thrives 90 miles from the island homeland. Calle Ocho, 8th Street, pulses with cigar shops, cafes serving Cuban coffee, restaurants offering ropa vieja and lechon, and murals celebrating Cuban heritage. The neighborhood emerged after Castro's revolution triggered waves of Cuban immigration. Little Havana isn't a tourist simulation. It's a living community where Cuban exiles maintain cultural traditions while adapting to American life. Fact 32. The Space Coast that launches humanity. Kennedy Space Center on Florida's Space Coast has launched every American crewed space mission since 1968. The Vehicle Assembly Building, where rockets are assembled, is so massive it has its own weather system. Clouds form inside on humid days. Visitors watch rocket launches from nearby beaches, feeling the ground shake and hearing the roar as rockets carrying satellites, supplies, and astronauts thunder toward orbit. SpaceX now conducts frequent launches from the Cape, sometimes multiple times weekly, making rocket launches almost routine. Almost. Fact 31. Swamp cabbage and crackers. Florida crackers, the term for early Florida settlers, developed a distinct culture based on cattle ranching, hunting, and fishing. The nickname allegedly comes from the sound of whips cracking as cowboys herded cattle. Cracker culture includes its own cuisine: swamp cabbage, heart of palm from cabbage palms, fried gator tail, frog legs, and turtle soup. Cracker horses, a distinct breed descended from Spanish colonial stock, are small, tough, and heat-adapted. Cracker-style homes featured high ceilings, wide porches, and tin roofs designed for Florida's heat before air conditioning.
Fact 30. The river that flows north. The St. Johns River is one of the few rivers in North America that flows north, running 310 miles from its marshy headwaters near Vero Beach to its mouth in Jacksonville. The river's minimal elevation drop, only 30 feet over its entire length, means tidal influence reaches far inland, creating brackish water ecosystems where freshwater and saltwater species intermingle. Manatees migrate up the river seeking warm water springs in winter. The river has been central to Florida's history since native peoples settled along its banks thousands of years ago. Fact 29. Strawberry fields forever. Plant City calls itself the winter strawberry capital of the world, producing enormous quantities of strawberries during winter months when other regions can't grow them. The annual Florida Strawberry Festival draws hundreds of thousands for rides, concerts, and endless strawberry treats. Strawberry shortcake, strawberry ice cream, chocolate-covered strawberries. Florida's warm winters allow strawberry harvest from December through April, filling grocery stores nationwide with Florida berries. Fact 28. The most Instagram-worthy trees. Banyan trees at Edison and Ford Winter Estates in Fort Myers create cathedral-like canopies, with aerial roots dropping from branches to form additional trunks, creating what looks like entire groves from single trees. Some banyan trees cover acres. The trees were brought to Florida by Thomas Edison and Henry Ford, who wintered in Fort Myers and transformed their properties into botanical gardens. The estates preserve both inventors' winter homes, laboratories,
and extensive gardens. Fact 27. Python invasion catastrophe. Burmese pythons, released or escaped from the pet trade, have established breeding populations in the Everglades, growing to 20+ feet and devastating native wildlife. The snakes have virtually eliminated 99% of raccoons, opossums, and bobcats from Everglades National Park. Researchers find deer, alligators, and even Florida panthers in python stomachs. The state hosts python hunting competitions with cash prizes, but the snakes are nearly impossible to find in dense vegetation. Estimates suggest tens of thousands inhabit the Everglades. Fact 26. The town built from coral rock. Coral Castle near Homestead is a mysterious structure carved from 1,100 tons of coral rock by Edward Leedskalnin, a Latvian immigrant who single-handedly quarried, carved, and assembled the massive stones between 1923 to 1951. He worked alone at night, using unknown methods to move multi-ton blocks. Some blocks weigh more than those in Stonehenge. Leedskalnin, who stood only 5 feet tall and weighed 100 pounds, claimed to know the secrets of pyramid construction. How he moved and positioned these massive stones remains unexplained.
Fact 25. The manatee's winter haven. Florida's warm water springs become winter refuges for manatees, with Crystal River hosting the largest concentration. Manatees, sensitive to cold, seek springs' constant 72-degree water when Gulf and ocean temperatures drop. Hundreds congregate at springs, creating unprecedented opportunities to observe and swim with these gentle giants. Crystal River is the only place in the United States where swimming with manatees is legally permitted, though strict rules protect the endangered marine mammals. Seeing a 1,200-pound manatee peacefully munching aquatic vegetation creates unforgettable wildlife encounters. Fact 24. The fishing capital's absurd bounty. Islamorada in the Florida Keys calls itself the sport fishing capital of the world, offering access to reef fish, deep-sea pelagics, flats fishing for bonefish and permit, and everything between. Charter boats line marinas. Fishing tournaments offer million-dollar prizes. Anglers catch sailfish, marlin, tarpon, grouper, snapper, and countless other species in waters so productive that even novices catch fish. The Gulf Stream passes close to shore, bringing deep-water species within reach. Fact 23. America's oldest city. St. Augustine, founded by Spanish explorers in 1565, is the oldest continuously occupied European established settlement in the continental United States. The city predates Jamestown by 42 years and Plymouth Rock by 55 years. Walking St. Augustine's narrow streets lined with Spanish colonial architecture, visiting Castillo de San Marcos, the oldest masonry fort in the continental U.S., and exploring historical sites creates tangible connections to America's colonial past. The city has survived British attacks, pirate raids, fires, and hurricanes while maintaining its historical character. Fact 22. The Salvador Dalí Collection. St. Petersburg hosts the largest collection of Salvador Dali's works outside Spain at the Dalí Museum, containing over 2,400 objects spanning the surrealist master's entire career. The avant-garde building's design, featuring a glass bubble erupting from a concrete box, reflects Dali's unconventional aesthetic. How did St. Petersburg acquire this collection? Ohio industrialist A. Reynolds Morse and his wife became friends with Dalí, amassing an extensive collection that eventually needed a permanent home. St. Petersburg won the collection through persistence. Fact 21. The Dry Tortugas Fort to Nowhere. Fort Jefferson in Dry Tortugas National Park, accessible only by seaplane or boat 70 miles west of Key West, is America's largest 19th-century masonry fortification. The massive hexagonal fort contains 16 million bricks, but was never finished and never saw combat. Instead, it served as a prison, most notably holding Dr. Samuel Mudd, who treated John Wilkes Booth's broken leg after Lincoln's assassination. Today, the fort sits in stunning turquoise waters, surrounded by coral reefs teeming with tropical fish, sea turtles, and sharks. Fact 20. Bok Tower's Singing Carillon. Bok Tower Gardens near Lake Wales features a 205-foot Gothic Revival and Art Deco bell tower containing a 60-bell carillon. Daily concerts at 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. send cascading melodies across the gardens and surrounding hills. Yes, Florida has hills, small ones. Edward Bok, a Dutch immigrant who became a prominent magazine editor, created the gardens as a gift to the American people.
The gardens showcase Florida's native and exotic plants in meticulously landscaped settings. Fact 19. The town that says no to chain restaurants. Seaside Florida on the Panhandle is a planned community where architecture follows new urbanist principles with pastel cottages, white picket fences, and walkable streets. The town became famous as the filming location for The Truman Show, perfectly capturing its idealized small-town aesthetic. Seaside prohibits chain restaurants and stores, requiring local businesses that contribute to the community's character. The beach town looks like a postcard brought to life. Fact 18. More than 30,000 lakes. Florida contains over 30,000 lakes, more than most states despite its relatively flat terrain. These aren't mountain lakes, they're sinkholes, solution lakes, and depression lakes formed when limestone dissolves, creating water-filled basins. Lake Okeechobee, covering 730 square miles, is the largest lake entirely within one state after Lake Michigan. The lake averages only 9 feet deep, making it more like a massive shallow pool. Lakes dot Florida's landscape, creating extensive freshwater ecosystems supporting bass, bluegill, catfish, and alligators. Fact 17. The Conch Republic's Rebellion. In 1982, frustrated by Border Patrol roadblocks causing massive traffic delays, Key West symbolically seceded from the United States, declaring itself the Conch Republic. The nation lasted 1 minute before surrendering and demanding $1 billion in foreign aid. It was satire, but Key West embraced the Conch Republic identity, issuing passports, celebrating Independence Day annually, and maintaining the rebellious spirit that defines the Keys. The Conch Republic flag flies throughout Key West. Fact 16. Sanibel's shell obsession. Sanibel Island is one of the world's premier shelling destinations due to its east-west orientation. Most Florida islands run north-south, which captures shells washing in from the Gulf. The Sanibel Stoop describes the bent-over posture of shellers walking beaches collecting shells. The Bailey Matthews National Shell Museum showcases the incredible variety: Junonia shells, lightning whelks, sand dollars, conchs. Some shellers become obsessive, arriving at dawn to claim the best finds. Fact 15. The butterfly capital. Florida hosts the highest butterfly diversity in the United States, with over 180 species recorded. The Florida Keys serve as a gateway for tropical species reaching their northernmost range. The Everglades supports unique populations. Butterfly gardens attract swallowtails, monarchs, zebra longwings, the state butterfly, and gulf fritillaries. The butterfly rainforest at the Florida Museum of Natural History in Gainesville houses a screened vivarium where hundreds of free-flying butterflies create a living kaleidoscope. Fact 14. Ginnie Springs crystal diving. Ginnie Springs produces 30 million gallons daily of 72-degree crystal-clear water, where divers explore a network of underwater caves. The spring is a mecca for cave divers, with passages extending thousands of feet into the aquifer. The cave systems require specialized training and equipment, claiming lives of unprepared divers who venture beyond open water limits. But the experience of swimming through underwater passages lit by dive lights, surrounded by perfect clarity, attracts adventurers worldwide. Fact 13. The Hemingway Cats. Ernest Hemingway's Key West home still houses descendants of his polydactyl, six-toed cats, with approximately 50 cats living on the property today. About half carry the polydactyl gene. The cats are named after famous people and roam freely through the house and gardens where Hemingway wrote some of his most famous works. The cats have become as much an attraction as Hemingway's legacy, lounging on furniture and generally ruling the property. Fact 12. More theme parks than anywhere. Orlando's concentration of theme parks is unmatched globally. Walt Disney World, Universal Orlando, SeaWorld Orlando, Legoland, Gatorland, Fun Spot, and countless smaller attractions. Orlando transformed from a small citrus town to theme park capital, with tourism driving the entire regional economy. The parks employ hundreds of thousands, attract tens of millions of annual visitors, and generate billions in revenue. Competition between parks has driven innovation in rides, technology, and experiences. Fact 11. The islands you can't visit. Florida has several islands permanently closed to public access. Clam Pass in Naples, various bird rookery islands, and military-controlled lands remain off-limits. Some islands harbor nesting colonies of endangered birds, where human presence would cause catastrophic disruption. Others served as bombing ranges or military installations where unexploded ordnance makes them too dangerous. These forbidden islands add mystery to Florida's coastline.
Fact 10. Cigar City's hand-rolled legacy. Tampa's Ybor City was once the cigar capital of the world, with thousands of workers hand-rolling cigars in factories while lectores read newspapers and novels allowed to educate and entertain workers. Cuban and Spanish immigrants established the cigar industry in the 1880s, creating a thriving community with social clubs, restaurants, and a distinct Latin culture. Today, Ybor City is a historic district where a few cigar shops still hand-roll cigars using traditional methods. Fact 9. The UFO capital of Florida. Gulf Breeze experienced a UFO flap in the late 1980s when hundreds of residents reported seeing mysterious craft, often described as glowing objects performing impossible maneuvers. Photographs surfaced, though skeptics disputed their authenticity. UFO enthusiasts flocked to Gulf Breeze, holding skywatch events, hoping to spot the phenomena. Whether genuine anomalies, military aircraft from nearby Pensacola Naval Air Station, or elaborate hoaxes, the Gulf Breeze UFO sightings put this panhandle town on the paranormal map. Fact 8. The southernmost point marker. The massive concrete buoy marking the southernmost point of the continental United States in Key West is one of Florida's most photographed landmarks. People wait in line for photos with the red, black, and yellow monument stating 90 miles to Cuba. Except it's not actually the southernmost point. That's on military property at Fort Zachary Taylor. But accuracy matters less than the symbol. You've reached America's edge, where the Caribbean begins. Fact 7. The swamp thing is real. Skunk ape, Florida's version of Bigfoot, allegedly haunts the Everglades and Big Cypress swamps. Descriptions depict a 7-foot-tall, ape-like creature smelling of rotten eggs or sulfur. Sightings date back decades, with grainy photographs and plaster footprint casts as evidence. Most scientists dismiss it as misidentified bears or complete fabrication, but skunk ape has become Florida folklore. Gift shops sell skunk ape merchandise. Tours promise skunk ape encounters. Fact 6. The Million-Dollar Highway. The 7-mile bridge cost $45 million to build in the 1980s, equivalent to over $100 million today, creating an engineering marvel that appears to float over open ocean. Driving the bridge feels surreal. No land visible in any direction, just endless turquoise water and sky. The old bridge, visible alongside, served as a filming location for action movies including True Lies, where Arnold Schwarzenegger flew a Harrier jet under its spans. Fact 5. Stone crabs worth the fight. Florida stone crab claws are a delicacy harvested in a unique way. Fishermen break off one claw, which regenerates, and return the crab to the sea. The claws are served cold with mustard sauce and command premium prices at restaurants. Stone crab season, October 15th to May 15th, is serious business, with commercial fishermen making substantial income from the harvest. Joe's Stone Crab in Miami Beach became legendary for stone crabs, attracting celebrities willing to wait hours for tables. Fact 4. The Fountain of Youth, probably not real. St. Augustine's Fountain of Youth Archaeological Park claims to be where Ponce de Leon searched for the legendary fountain that granted eternal life. The fountain is actually a natural spring where visitors can drink the sulfurous water, though it definitely doesn't taste like youth. The site capitalizes on legend, despite dubious historical accuracy. Ponce de Leon probably never looked for a fountain of youth, and if he did, it wasn't here. But tourists don't care. Fact 3. The Monkey Islands. Silver Spring State Park harbors a surprising population. Wild rhesus macaque monkeys, descendants of animals released in the 1930s by a riverboat operator who thought they'd attract tourists. They did. The monkeys swim between islands, steal from picnickers, and occasionally charge tourists who get too close. They're cute but aggressive, carrying herpes B virus dangerous to humans. Wildlife officials have attempted to control the population, but the monkeys persist. Fact 2. The beach that disappeared and returned. Miami Beach is partially artificial, built on dredged sand pumped from offshore to create the famous beach. Hurricanes and erosion continually wash it away, requiring periodic beach renourishment, costing tens of millions. Crews dredge offshore sand and pump it onto beaches, temporarily restoring what nature removed. It's an endless cycle. Build beach, hurricane destroys beach, rebuild beach, repeat. Yet the beach remains central to Miami's identity and economy. Fact 1. Florida is America's weird wild card. From alligators in swimming pools to wild parrots in suburbs,
From mermaid shows to monkey islands, Florida defies every expectation and embraces every contradiction. It's simultaneously Southern and Caribbean, conservative and libertine, natural and artificial. Florida gave America Art Deco architecture, spring break, retirement communities, Disney World, and Florida Man headlines. It's a place where hurricanes are annual events, where air conditioning makes civilization possible. From the Panhandle's white sand beaches to the Keys' Caribbean vibe, from Everglades sawgrass to Orlando's fantasy kingdoms, Florida is a place of extremes, absurdities, natural beauty, and human ambition, creating something found nowhere else on Earth. That's Florida, where America goes on vacation and sometimes never leaves.